Hi, everybody. Welcome back to RVAsec 2023 at beautiful Omni Hotel, Richmond, Virginia. My next guest, what's your name, sir?
This is Dwyane Mcdaniel.
Name of your company?
Gitguardian.
And website, Gitguardian.com?
Gitguardian.com is where you can find us.
I like that name.
Thank you.
It sounds like a verb.
Well, we're helping people guard.
Or gerund, I guess is a better.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, we're helping people guard, so it is actively, it's a verb.
Yeah, that's great. Very good.
Doing.
What do you guys do?
So we're a platform that helps companies figure out where their hard-coded credentials are throughout their source code as it moves from the developer's laptop all the way through their CI/CD pipelines. And then we're a platform to figure out what to do about that, a remediation platform, if you will. So you can see who's in charge of the secret. Has it been remediated yet? Is it still valid? Is it still public? Have you talked to the developer? Just that whole cycle. Here recently, we've also gotten into code leak and code intrusion with that, but we'll talk more about that in a second.
So the title is Knowing If Your Secrets Are Secret. That's the key to code security.
Yeah.
And you said something interesting. We help people find out where their credentials are. Shouldn't they know that? But they don't. It's weird, right? It's the most important thing you should know, and people can't find them.
It's very true. So if you think of your own personal use of passwords, you know where all your passwords are. They're up here.
Right.
But as you start talking about code that has systems talking to other systems, well, how many keys are involved in that process? That alone, a lot of people don't even know.
Yeah.
So as that just grows exponentially, as you have more systems talking to more systems, more people getting access, it becomes pretty simple for a developer to do something pretty lazy, which is, I'll just put this in here in plain text in the code itself, and then it works. And it calls the API, and everything checks out. And then it's just like, hey, it worked on my machine. I'll just push this out there without a lot of thought to what does this do for our security.
So why is secret management so important to cybersecurity? You kind of touched on it a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
You can't write the keys to the kingdom inside the code. But they do it.
Absolutely. So what I would love everybody that's listening to this to take away is that there are awesome open source free solutions that let you programmatically store your keys and your passwords and all your secrets and then pull them out at runtime. Just you're going to call to that third-party system. HashiCorp Vault's one that comes to mind. There's a lot of ways to do it. No matter what platform you're on out there's probably a secret manager built in. And if everybody just would use those consistently every single time they developed, I'd be out of a job, but I'd be very happy about that situation.
What does the feedback loop look like in the best scenario for the developer and the security team? And I don't blame the security guys for this, because they get kicked out of the development room. We'll call you guys in when we're ready for you. Security's not the first line of code. We got to get this thing to market. They have a tough job.
That's very true. Well, unfortunately, a lot of the time we're testing too late. We're figuring out that there's a secret involved way after it's left the developer machine.
Right.
So then they have this whole pile of alerts and incidents and like, well, how do we deal with this? So the feedback loop is super important in two respects. One, how do you deal with that situation? Like, how do you get that developer back involved and say, hey, you hard-coded a credential here. Is this real? Does this go to anything? Is this still valid? Did you already rotate this? Our platform, Gitguardian, we make that really, really simple. We have a part of the response plan is a link you can just send to your developers or even embedded in Jira so they can get back to the incident to say, yes, this is my feedback on the situation. And if you trust them in the right situations, on the right teams, go ahead and just close that incident right then and there. But other side of that is feedback, talking to your developers and getting involved in the process early in discovery and in the architecture phase, and giving them tools that they can use, such as you can insert things into your Git hooks. So every time you go to make a commit, you can have a system check to see, hey, do I have a credential here? If it's caught right then and there, it takes a few seconds to remediate, and nobody's the wiser, and everybody's super happy with that situation. So having those conversations a little bit earlier in the cycle, that feedback to them, here's how you do your job safely, and here's how we do it in an unobtrusive way, that message goes a long way.
Now, I have a new word for myself, honey tokens. How do honey tokens fit into the side of code security? Is a honey token like a honey pot?
Honey pots, yes, it's a derivative of honey pot.
Okay,
In 2003, Augusto, cannot remember his last name, but a gentleman from Brazil, now he lives in Canada, was writing in a honey pot forum. It's like, what if we just had a piece of data that didn't move? I've been using these, and I've been calling them honey tokens.
Oh, all right.
And that has evolved. You see a lot of companies out there. We recently introduced honey tokens on our platform for our customers. So it's right now, in the time of this recording, it's just AWS fake credentials. They don't go to anything, but if you try to use them, they'll set off an alarm. If something scans it, they'll set off an alarm. So if you embed these in your code as plain text, a scanner's going to hit it if it goes publicly, and you'll know you got a code leak.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Someone sees it and says, hey, I'm going to try that AWS token because, well, everybody wants AWS because they want to crypto mine or they want to steal your data. Well, they're going to try it. It's going to set off an alarm bell, give you the IP address, the user agent, what they were trying to do, and now you can start defending against that in seconds. Average dwell time for an incident is about 300 days. Someone will get access to a system and just sit there and
300. We haven't got any better.
It used to be 360. So
well, I guess we are better.
But now we can know in a couple of minutes. So you can do this by watching log files and setting up your own fancy systems, or you can use an off-the-shelf product like we're making and know like that across all your code bases, across all your development teams.
Now, who do you catch more of? Bad guys with honey tokens or lazy internal developers that put it in the code?
Well, if they're lazy, they're not going to put anything. They're not going to go try it. So if it's a honey token, it doesn't go to anything. So that answer that question. But right now, honey tokens are pretty new for us. Only a couple months. But I can tell you right now, it's the thing that perks up everybody's ears when we talk to them because, hey, we know the other thing's a problem. It's a big problem. We'll solve it as we can. But honey tokens give us that instant access and give us that motivation on how to deal with this. We're seeing a lot of uptick on that.
I was coming up with some way to test code writers. They use open source code a lot, right? I don't know, come up with a way like a booby trap. So if they try to be lazy and try to put the key in there, it does something. It alerts somebody before they do it, Well,
that's what our platform literally does. That's the heart of it. So if the developer puts something in their code and then shoves it up to the repo, upon crossing that threshold, we're not the only people to do this, but Gitguardian does it extremely well.
Right.
We'll alert the team immediately, be it their platform of choice, be it PagerDuty or Jira or what have you, maybe just a custom webhook going straight to you, or maybe just an email to know immediately, hey, this incident has occurred. So if you can catch that incident right as it happens, you resolve it right then and there, then the chances of someone doing something malicious go way, way down.
Do you ever point it at open source code just to see open source code that's out there in the wild has problems?
All the time. In fact, we put out a state of secret sprawl report every year. It comes out once a year. We put out the 2022 numbers just recently. Found over 10 million credentials stuffed into public GitHub repos.
10 million?
We look at every single push that goes to GitHub public repos, and 10 million. It's right now, it's closing in on 6 out of every 1,000 commits contain some kind of secret. 1 out of every 10 developers on the platform has pushed something this year.
Oh, boy. I got a stomachache, Dwayne. You gave me a stomachache.
Unfortunately, it's getting worse, not better. And I wish it was getting better, but the previous year, we saw 6 million, and the year before that, when I first learned about it, it was a little over 2 million. So
when everybody knows they shouldn't do it, they're doing it more.
Well, here's the thing. I think it comes down to 2 things. One, an explosion of developers has happened. So part of it is people don't know. The number of emails I respond to when people reach back out to us from our emails and say, well, how should I do this? And I point them in the right direction. I think it's a large number, but everybody's got to learn. So absolutely. The other part of it, I think people just make mistakes. How many times have you ever pasted something and it didn't know exactly where it went?
Yeah.
I've done that more times than I can count. I just a couple months ago accidentally commented out an env file out of my git ignore. Yeah, by accident. This happens. But I think mostly it comes down to I just needed to test this. I'm just debugging this one little thing. And then they move from the line where they put that for the top down to line 700 where the actual problem is. And then what do you do if there's an emergency or you got an alert?
Right.
You save, git add, git commit, push, leave the building.
Good stuff, my friend.
I think a lot of people just do that.
Mr. Dwyane, give us your website one more time.
Oh, it's Gitguardian.com.
Gitguardian.com, back in RVAsec 2023 here in Richmond, Virginia. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you.